Hi, I'm Dave Laverty with Stay Ready Incorporated, and today I'm interviewing a World War II vet that fought in European theater. And what year were you there, sir?
Well, it's on here.
Okay.
The dates aren't on this, I guess, are they? They landed in January of 45.
Landed in January of...
in England, and then they crossed.
In 1945. And this is Elvin Markel.
Right.
And how long were you over there, Elvin?
About a year and a half.
Year and a half. And where all did you get to?
Well, we landed here, we came over to convoy.
Okay.
We landed at Le Havre, France. Right there. This was after the
D-Day.
the D-Day, yeah. And the Germans were coming south. And we headed them off and fought all the way through here.
Through France?
Through France, Luxembourg, part of Belgium. And there's the Rhine River that we crossed. And we went on into Czechoslovakia where the war ended.
Holy cow. So you told me an interesting story one time. Were you one of the first units across the Rhine? Is that what you told me one time?
You want me to tell you that Rhine story?
If you don't mind.
How about me sitting down to do that?
You could do that, yes. We'd love for you to sit down and tell us the story.
All right, I'll tell you the story.
So you were infantry in World War II, and you were a bar gunner, is that right?
Yeah, BAR.
BAR.
Right. First gunner on the BAR. Anyhow, are you ready to go with this?
Yes, sir, we're ready.
All right. What happened was, we were going to cross the Rhine, and there was a gun emplacement in a railroad tunnel that we were supposed to go over and put out of commission. All right, so they chose us. I was chosen mostly because I speak German, part-time German. And there was 7-man patrol, 1 lieutenant, and 6 enlisted men. So they hauled us down the edges of the Rhine River, and there's a little shack right off the. This was pitch dark all the time. Couldn't see much where we were. At Oberwestern, Germany. It was a village. So we got there, and the biggest surprise was they gave us a chicken dinner. When we got there, what's this? The last meal before the slaughter or what? So anyhow, we got the meal, took us down the edge of the water. This was midnight. It was pitch dark, no lights on anywhere. We got in a little engineer's boat, all of us, and we started out across the Rhine River. So we get out there, it'll be 100, 200 yards, and the Germans fired flares up there, lit flares, you know, whatever they call it. Lit the river up like daylight. And there we were sitting like a clerk in a bathtub. So, the closer we got, and the Rhine River is swift and deep, in case you don't know it. We get out there, and we thought that there was a German patrol boat coming up the river. We saw this boat, you know. And we thought, what are we going to do now? They'll kill us all. Either capture or kill us. So we're out there, and they're shooting at us all the time.
Oh my gosh.
From the other shore. Bullets raining all over the place. And we thought the ship was coming up. Instead of that, we were going down in the current. We couldn't tell that at night. So we grabbed a hold of the ropes on this ship and hung on there, and they couldn't see us anymore on the other side. We thought, we'll stay here until the lights, flares burn out. and then we'll move on to the shore on the other side. That's what we done. So we, that's it. The flares were all burned out. We moved on. Might have had 100 yards to go. And on the river, the banks of the river were sloped with stone, so they wouldn't wash out, you know. So we got over there, and the boat hit. I thought, well, I'm out of this baby. I went to get out, and I stepped on this moss-covered stone, and I slipped. Slipped right down in the water. Covered I was. With all the ammunition, bangular torpedoes, and all the weight I had on me. I grabbed a place where the stone was sticking out, and I pulled my head out. Then the guys pulled me out of the water. I'd have drowned right there. Anyhow, now it was night, soaking wet, cold, had that soaking wet yet. And we got up the edge of this, there was a wall, a stone wall, and then it was flat where the railroad tracks were on top, you know. So we got up this stone wall, and we thought, well, we'll take our guns and get them ready, get our ammunition out, and everything else. So while we were doing that, the German soldier, we could hear him walking on the affiliates under the tracks, you know, crunching. He walked over, he looked, and he saw us. All of us. And when he saw us, he had a burp gun. You know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
We was ready to shoot, but he got a shot before he pulled the trigger. And when that gun went off, there was a siding to the railroad track with wooden box cars on it. And when that gun went off, the doors slid open. They were full of German soldiers on the other side, you know. And there was only 7 of us. We all had automatic weapons, but and we were lined up. Every 4th round was a tracer bullet that we carried. And even though we couldn't see, we could shoot them by automatic, like a garden hose. I could just put that thing back and forth, you know, 3 feet high. Let them come. So they charged us one time after another, tried to push us back down in the river again to kill us. So we kept firing, and they kept coming, till finally the firing stopped. We thought, well, something's wrong, or maybe they quit, or whatever, we don't know. So we waited a pretty good while when the shot fired. So we crawled over the top of the wall, and the railroad tunnel was down about, I'm guessing at this, a quarter of a mile maybe. And we crawled in the ditches alongside the track, so many on each side, and we got down to this tunnel. When we got down there, we could hear them talking in the tunnel. And there was a gun emplacement in there. That's what we were over to get, to debunk. And we each had a bangular torpedo stuck in our backpack. It was like a fluorescent tube, 3 feet long, but it was covered with steel, you know. And each end, they could stick together, you clamped them, turned them, snapped them tight. Well, we got over there, and there was a wooded area to the south. We stayed in that wooded area, and we got up to, there's a little stream coming out of the tunnel. So we laid one torpedo after another, snapping, kept floating them up that stream inside the tunnel, you know. And they couldn't hear us either, because we were at the south end, and they couldn't see us from out in the front of the tunnel. So we slid them all in, snapped them fast. And I don't know who the guy was that had the plunger. I never saw him. He must have been from the engineer, Army engineer. And he had hooked the plunger up. He said, everybody take cover now. That means, you know what that means. Behind a rock, a tree, or whatever. And flat on the ground. And we did. Everybody ready? Yep. He pushed that plunger, boy, what he did. A ball of fire came out of that tunnel. Pieces of the gun, people came out flying through the air.
Oh my goodness.
I mean to tell you, there was nitroglycerin in those, with nitrostarch. In every one of those tubes we pushed in there. And when that settled down, they had a big charge of ammunition in the tunnel for their gun, you know. It went off. After the others went off. And after it went off, after the dust settled, we look around, nobody living. We collapsed the whole tunnel.
Oh my gosh.
The roof came down.
Oh my Lord.
So we figured, well, we got our job done. Now, if there's any people left in there, they could have went out the back end of the tunnel, you know. We didn't know that, but it didn't matter. I mean, all right, our job's completed. So we get up, we started down the tracks because it was about maybe 2 or 3 in the morning by then. And we only got down a couple of 100 yards. And the artillery shells kept raining in.
From the American side.
From our division.
And you guys were still there.
And they knew we were there.
Oh no.
So they laid those artillery in one after another. And there was a drain pipe about that high, made out of steel. And the water, they took the water from the inside of the tracks and ran it into the river, you know. So we crawled in this pipe, put a guard on each end, and stayed there till the shelling stopped. Now if they'd have hit us direct, they'd have killed all of us with artillery. But they didn't. It protected us from the shrapnel too, you know. Well, that stopped. And boy, were we hot under the collar then. And we knew that their own artillery was blasting us. So we got out, started walking down the tracks. We had somebody on each side. And what do you think happened next? Army or Air Force P-51 came down that river, or that railroad track, and strafed the hell out of us. Yeah. Well, what next? So we flattened. If we would have ran, they thought we were German. Would have stood up, they'd have killed us all. So we laid down flat in the ditching along the track. And they made 2 or 3 different, it was daylight by then in the morning. They made passing. Well, now it must be over, you know. Didn't hit one of us, we're all okay.
Great.
By that time they started crossing with the main division, 15,000 men.
Wow.
In amphibious jeeps and boats and whatever you think of. They coming across, so we met the first boat that came across. And the colonel that sent us over was in that boat. And he looked around and he said, "Where are you guys coming from?" He said, "We're the patrol, you 7-man patrol you sent out." Well, he said, "I'm going to tell you now that was a suicide mission you were on. How many are living? All of us. How many are injured? Nobody. Nobody." So we told him, "We don't know this, but you picked the best damn man you had."
Didn't ask for volunteers, huh?
So He said, well, all the guys cursed him and everything else for doing that. So he said, okay, I'm putting you all in for the Bronze Star Medal. And that's it up there.
And that's what you got from that.
Mhm.
Now what is this one here?
That's good conduct.
Good conduct, and this is,
Occupation of Germany.
all right, and this is,
That's the war ended.
okay, and then that one over there?
That's for the Rhineland and Central Europe
Okay.
campaign.
And is this a unit thing here?
That's a presidential unit citation.
Okay, so you got the Bronze Star, and then we know what this is, the Combat Infantry Badge.
Right. Yeah, and those square blocks, our regiment got that from the president.
Cool. And I see this says Bronze Star Medal, Private First Class Elvin M. Markel, United States Army.
That's what it said.
25th day of January, City of Washington, 1992.
That's
Took them a
right.
while to get it to you.
That's another
Yeah,
story.
right.
That's a long story. I'll try to make it pretty quick to you. Well, I didn't finish the story on our crossing yet. We got back up to where they were crossing. We talked to the colonel and ripped him out good. When they get over to combat, the officers take all their ranks off because they're the first ones that they
Right.
try to get. Okay, he didn't have his bars or nothing on. The colonel was okay. He said, okay. He said, that's what we're going to do. And we got up the second, we went up the side, the south side of the Rhine is like a cliff. And they have paths along that you can go up back and zigzag. And they grow grapes there. It's one of the best places that can grow grapes for wine. Moselle Valley's that big, good for them. And that's how we went up this way, up to the top. And I don't know, one of the lieutenants said, all you guys who were on that night patrol, find yourself a building, a shack or anything, and rest. We were out all night. So he said, okay, he said, we're going on, and you follow up when you get some rest. So we went there and I got this building, laid down on a couple of hay bales, just about ready to fall asleep. And the guy come running up to the shack, he said, everybody out there counterattacking.
Oh my goodness. Are you taping?
They're counterattacking, we need you up in the line. So we up in the line. We knocked the counterattack back. And then we were out and we kept on fighting, continued, kept pushing. That's how much rest we got. Yeah, well that was the end of that. Then from then we pushed them all the way to Czechoslovakia. Did you see that?
Wow.
And there's where they surrendered.